So yes, potentially one of Superman's most dangerous adversaries is back, Doomsday, and he is back with a vengeance and stronger than ever. But this time there isn't just one super person operating and going to fight Doomsday, there are two super beings, Superman of course, and Lois Lane. Now this is AJ at the Hero Informer, and let's get into it. So starting off, we don't pick up in Metropolis or even on Earth or even in the current time period. No, we pick up at the literal end of time, where we see Superman in some sort of fiery, powerful form talking to this mysterious stranger, someone known as the Time Trapper, who becomes very important later on, because this person, this figure, is a cosmic entity, one that literally represents entropy and the flowing of time. And because of this entity can take many different forms and hosts, kind of like the Spectre, and who he is revealed to be at the very end is not only very shocking, but very intriguing. As these two figures go on to say and conversate, it has been said that everything dies, but we both know that isn't true, don't we, Kal-El? Superman is forever and I am forever. Our conflict will never end. Just showing you a running relationship between these two powerful figures. As Superman even says, we have fought many times, Time Trapper, and this time will be no different. You will lose. But it seems Time Trapper has a little bit of a plan. As being the entity that he is, he can move through in and out of time, as he leaves this future version of Superman saying, I will find someone who will help. But for now, we cut back over to present day Metropolis, where we see Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane at the Daily Planet, and they are talking about how there is a new Superwoman on the scene in Metropolis, because as I have hinted before, Metropolis is now home to multiple super beings, ones that we will see directly in conflict as an explosion randomly goes off in the distance, causing Lois Lane to hurry up, run off to find find Superman. And as they meet up, we see them both take off their civilian clothes and reveal the Kryptonian symbols, because as it would turn out, Clark Kent is Superman and now Lois Lane, his wife, is the Superwoman. How does she even gain the powers of a Kryptonian? Well, it's not explicitly stated yet, but towards the end of the last DC event, Absolute Power, we've seen the powers of multiple heroes get thrown off and sent everywhere. Heroes getting the wrong powers and some even being powerless. And now with Lois Lane now showing up with superpowers of her own, it might not be a coincidence. But for now, these two figures race off to see what they can save and can do. As it turns out, the Atomic Skull is attacking once more, and this time he's brought a little team with him, a little zoo, his Atomic Zoo, a whole team of radioactive flaming creatures. And of course, usually the Atomic Skull is barely a match for Superman himself, let alone two people with Superman powers. And speaking of powers, we find out that Lois's aren't perfect, they're not infallible. Because as we cut over to Supercorp Tower, we see people monitoring and keeping check on her levels, saying that even though they read stable, she can't use her heat vision, because the team there suspects that it burns up too much of the solar energy in her cells. And they don't even know if she is absorbing it the same way that Superman does, possibly meaning if she exerts too much, uses too much power too quickly, she might become powerless, and things might even turn worse fatally for her if she loses her powers in the midst of a battle. But in the midst of all of this, we then cut over and see what Lex Luthor of all people are doing. As right now, Lex Luthor is, well, not really the Lex you might know. As you see during the events of the House of Brainiac event, Lex has completely lost his memory, no longer having the drive to say defeat or get rid of Superman. Even looking back at some of the old footage with him, being the Lex you might realize and recognize, he doesn't remember any of it. He doesn't have the same goals, motives, things driving him as he did before, meaning right now he isn't even a villain. And this could be the start of a new era in Lex's history, but we don't get too much of that now as we cut back over into the battlefield of Metropolis, where we see, and not surprisingly, the heroes were able to clean everything up, defeating and imprisoning the Atomic Skull, also with his new atomic animals. And so with that, the super pair then rockets off into the sky. Quick, easy, and simple, because for Superman and his wife, Lois Lane, Superwoman, things couldn't be greater, because as Superman goes to ask Lois how she is feeling, she responds saying great. It's been a few weeks that she has had these powers now, and even though they've had their fair share of adventures, she is loving it, especially the flying aspect, saying that it's something that you just have to experience yourself to fully get a grasp on how great it is. But this little happy moment won't last for long, as both of their super hearing then picks up ambulance, people screaming, destruction, fire. As when they both go to land down, everybody is running away, screaming, as Superman catches the thrown car trying to get a read on the situation. And just then, he finally sees it, sees what is happening, and just from the sight itself, it is enough to shake the Man of Steel to his core, with him saying nothing more than dear God. Because yes, that's right, Doomsday, arguably one of Superman's most powerful adversaries and enemies, is back from his little trip of being contained and kept in hell. But now he is back and stronger than ever, and this time with an absolute vengeance. And of course, everybody starts panicking, with the scientists and people watching back at Supercorp going on to say, I thought we confirmed Doomsday was in hell, but he must have died there, and his resurrection forced a new evolution. He is stronger than ever. And as Lois Lane This new superpowered Lois Lane stares down Doomsday, the same Doomsday that once took her husband's life, Superman. She fully realizes what is at stake now, not only their very own lives, but the lives of everybody else here. And so with that, she decides to lock in. She isn't going to let Superman fight this battle alone, especially not what happened last time, and now since she has powers and can help too. But before they start their battle, Superman makes something very clear. Doomsday isn't some kind of giant robot or misunderstood monster. No, he's an unstoppable force of nature. And as soon as Doomsday starts charging, everybody getting ready to engage in a battle, suddenly everything stops. It seems as if time itself is frozen. Nothing. Not a sound. The entire world has gone quiet as Superman listens out, and he arrives at the same conclusion that there is foul play. Somebody has literally stopped time to have a conversation with him. And that someone is none other than the time trapper from before. But instead of talking with a version of Superman at the end of time, he has come to present day. Present day in this exact moment before Doomsday possibly destroys everything. And Superman, not in the mood to play games, immediately questions the time trapper, asking him what does he have to do with all of this. But the time trapper goes to change the subject, asking Superman if he has told Lois yet. Told her that he will watch her wither and die. How Superman will outlive everything in the universe. All his friends, family will be like sand grains in an hourglass as they waste away, forgotten to time. But with Superman being as powerful as he is and a cornerstone in the entire DC universe, he will outlive everything. But this isn't always the case, as the time trapper goes on to further explain, in some timelines I witness you choose to live a normal life among the humans, a life without powers. But that is very selfish, to deny the future a Superman. But Superman himself is pretty confused and not sure what all of this has to do with him and why now. He tells the time trapper to cut to the chase. You can visit anywhere in any time, so why are you choosing here and now? The time trapper says because this moment is special. The horrors that happen next will decide the fate of everything, as he obviously alludes to Doomsday, and how this battle will play out could decide the fate of the universe. And this time trapper now decides to lay all of his cards on the table, telling Superman as he pulls his mask back, revealing his identity, that I've died many times before, once even at your own hands, back when you knew me as Doomsday. So yes, this version of the time trapper, this cosmic entity, has chosen Doomsday at some point in time, disconnected from this Doomsday here, to be its host. Which, if you thought Doomsday was already pretty powerful, imagine Doomsday with higher consciousness and the ability to peer in and out of time at will to further whatever goals he has in mind. As he goes on to continue to tell Superman, we have been enemies for millennia, but now I need your help. And it seems like whatever this Doomsday, this time trapper, is planning, he needs the help of one Superman to go against the other Superman, the future Superman. But whatever his master plans are and end goal is, we don't know yet, as this issue and video comes to a close. If you've enjoyed watching, leave a like or subscribe to the channel if you're new and want to see more of this content. As always, this was the Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.